Hey everyone, it's Sunday, May 10th, day 3. Ooh, look at this little beetle grub I found. This is the kind of grub that turns into one of those shiny black beetles that runs really fast. They suck the roots of our tree, so I'm going to toss him off to the side. So it's day 3 of a major tree planting effort here at Randolph School, and Amy and I have just finished digging all the holes for all the trees. In fact, we're putting the last few in the ground now. I haven't counted up the holes we dug this morning yet, so I'm gonna have to get back to you with that information. But as you can see, we're here on the upper playground. Today we really concentrated on this area in between the fence and the shed and this cool trail path that you guys started to build last year. And these baby sugar maples that we have done for tree planting a couple years back that are thriving, that are doing beautiful now. So in this area we planted all witch hazels and dogwoods. So those trees are going to work together with the sugar maples that are getting well established now to form a true canopy forest over the years. By the time you guys have kids coming to Randolph, as Maddox pointed out, this area here is going to be a forest glade with overstory sugar maples and understory witch hazels flowering in the fall when school starts, and understory dogwoods flowering in the spring. So this area is really on its way to becoming a whole ecosystem because of trees that we have planted here at school. And another thing I want you to all know is that whether or not you remember, you have all already helped these trees on their way to success. So I'm digging here in this area that is covered with wood chips. How did these wood chips get here? This is part of a process that's been going on for a couple of years now, with families and friends of Randolph donating wood chips and Randolph kids helping me move them. Pounds and pounds, actually tons, literally tons. If any of you watching this remember moving a wood chip over to here now, you have already helped these trees. The wood chips killed the non-native grasses and got them out of the way, helped us control some of the invasive species like lesser celandine, and also have been decomposing into this really beautiful, rich black and brown soil. The wood chips that we put here are already turning into plant food for these guys. So I want to show you the parts of the tree before I put it in the ground, or technically this is a shrub. Maybe this one has a bigger root, yeah. And I also want to show you the way that I've been planting them. So first of all, you can see all the parts of this little shrub here, including the parts we don't normally see. What's that called? The roots. And what do the roots do? 2 really important jobs. The first job is, as you know, it draws water and minerals from the ground and brings it up to the rest of the tree. It also anchors the tree. It gives it a strong base so that the trunk and the roots working together can keep that tree upright and strong when there's wind and storms and animals browsing and kids leaning on them, right? So from the roots moving up, we see what we normally would call the trunk. Inside here is the growth tissue, the cambium and the xylem and the phloem, those little tubes like our veins that bring the water and minerals up from the ground and the sugar that the leaves are making down. So the trunk has 2 jobs: to connect everything together and transport things back and forth from the roots to the leaves, and also to hold the leaves up as high as possible so that they can get near the, that's right, sun. So last part of the thing to talk about is the leaves. They're not out yet, but you can see this bud is just starting to unfold into a leaf. So that'll start to happen quickly now that this tree will be in the ground in the sun. So you can see all the parts of the trees here, the tree here and the jobs they do. A couple of the buds are still not quite open yet. So you can see these little knocks right here. There's a leaf hidden, like origami, folded up in there, ready to come out. All right, so how are we planting these guys? The first thing is to look at your trees, get a sense for how big that root structure wants to be underground. You want to imagine that the dirt is going to come right up to where the roots end, and the roots are going to be spread out underground. That's how the tree wants to be. So then you have to dig a hole that big, even a little bigger, this deep and a little deeper, and this wide and a little wider. Dig the hole. If you have big rocks and roots and stuff that you're finding, you got to get them out of the way. And then the next thing is to hold the tree in the hole just where you think it's going to want to be. So if I put it up here, that's too high. These roots will be exposed and dry out and die. If I put it down here, the tree's not going to be happy. A lot of its trunk and buds will be under the dirt. So I have to hold the tree right where the top of the roots are going to be, where the soil is going to come up to. And then I start to gently pull this soil that I dug back into the hole. If there's big clumps, I crumble them up. We don't want big clumps because that makes air pockets underground when we're done. And I'm going to slowly push this dirt back into the hole. I'm actually doing 2 witch hazels in this hole. It's a wide one, so I'm going to put one over on this side here to wait. And as I get enough dirt around to kind of cover the roots and the base, I'm going to use my hands like little, kind of like choppers like this. And ooh, look, here's another beetle grub. This is a different kind. I don't know what this guy is. He's awesome. His body is translucent, and you can see the dirt that he's been eating inside his guts. Whoa. So that guy might be helping us. Maybe he's a decomposer. I'm not sure. All right. Now, the really important thing is to get these roots totally covered in soil and then get the soil compacted down so there's not air pockets and gaps underneath. If there are, that makes it easy for fungus and bacteria and insects to get in there and affect those roots. And it also makes it so that the roots will dry out. All right, so that guy's looking pretty good. He's gonna need a little final pat down, but first I'm gonna get this guy in. Same thing. I'm looking for where the roots end and the main part of the trunk begins. I'm gonna hold it just the right level. The other thing is you wanna give the chance, the trunk needs to be as straight as possible. So I don't wanna hold it like this. I'm gonna hold it up nice and straight. Start to push this beautiful black dirt that you friends helped us prepare over the last few years back in here around. I feel like I can hear these trees saying, ah, this is a nice spot. They're in the full sun. And I want to remind you also that these areas are places that used to be forest woods when I was a kid here, and that we've decided we want to become woods and forest again. So in the future, this is going to be a beautiful little sugar bush with some big old sugar maples and a bunch of flowering shrubs kind of underneath and around them to make it like a true little canopy. And there we go. Now I'm going to really make sure that's all patted down. And these trees look pretty happy. And the last step is to give them a really gentle but thorough watering. We want that water to soak down through every little molecule of soil that we just moved and kind of bind them all together and fill in those gaps and touch all the places where those roots are underneath. Root cells need to stay wet all the time, kind of like an amphibian skin. If they dry out, they'll die. So if I pour it too fast, the water's gonna run off. We want the water to, hey, who remembers studying about the water cycle? So we don't want the water to turn into runoff. We want it to percolate. Remember what that means? To kind of trickle slowly down through the soil. So I'll pour a little bit till there's a puddle, and then I let it percolate down. You can see it kind of disappearing into the soil. And then I'll pour a little more, and I'll do all these trees and then come back for a second watering. And that's gonna conclude the planting process. And what we have in front of us now is a whole lot of caring for them, especially during their first summer. They need a lot of help. I'm gonna be putting up barriers to keep deer away and mulching them with, guess what, some more wood chips. And the other part that we're so excited about are the signs that you all are gonna make for these little groves and or stands, as we're gonna call them, and some of the other ways for you to connect with these trees. So get ready for more information coming your way about that. This week, Kevin made all the signs. He made 70 little pieces of wood that are a foot long. They're at my house right now. We're gonna let you know how your parents can come and get those and bring them home to you, and we'll take it from there. So enjoy this beautiful sunshine. Happy Mother's Day, and woo! There's like 100 new trees in the ground at Randolph School and Shrubs. Yay!